The Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell is siding with a partly Russian owned aluminum plant over coal miners in Kentucky. So now, McConnell had recently blocked a measure that would have funded the pensions and health care for coal miners in his home state. Now, the measure was co sponsored by Joe Manchin. Now, Joe Manchin, I don't have a lot of good words for, but at least when it comes to this, he's paying lip service to some of the coal miners and at least protecting their pensions. And it would have directed his bill that he co sponsored, would directed about $4 million in federal funding towards those pensions. Well, that's a good thing, right? They worked for those pensions, those miners did. They deserve those pensions. Now, Mitch McConnell, however, thinks no, they don't deserve those pensions. You know who deserves that money more? My buddies who are building an aluminum plant. Now, shortly after blocking that bill, which, by the way, he claimed that it was only because he wanted a more permanent fix, which would not be able to make it through Congress, McConnell directed that money towards something else, that aluminum plant, whose owner was just recently removed from President Obama's economic sanctions against Russia. Now, that's not long after steering almost the same amount of money through Treasury Department funds to that same aluminum plant. Now, back in January, McConnell voted to lift sanctions on Rusal. Now, that is a Russian aluminum company formerly headed by our good friend Oleg Deripaska. I don't know where you've heard that word before, that name, but pretty sure it was involved with the Mueller report. So now, Oleg Deripaska had this company that was sanctioned by the Obama administration at the end of his term for being the oligarchs that were connected to, and I kind of forget what this was, the Magnitsky Act. I think that's what it was. So there was a handful of Russian billionaires that were sanctioned because of the Magnitsky Act, and Oleg Deripaska was one of them. So now he gets put on this list, right? And now the Republicans say, "Oh no, you know what we're going to do is we're going to delist them so they can come in and they can go and do business back here in America." And so that's what happened. Just days after the Treasury Department delisted the company, it announced a $200 million investment in an aluminum plant in northeastern Kentucky. So now that is super curious. I mean, considering how the company didn't actually lobby Congress about the sanctions itself, and no employee or director of the company ever spoke to McConnell about Rusal, the only outside investor in the plant. So that's odd. So now a lot of people are wondering why McConnell knew, or how McConnell knew, or if he knew. Is this a giant coincidence or a payoff? I don't know. Let's dive in. Let's look at this, right? So now, according to a report by the Daily Beast, while Rusal was lobbying the Trump administration to remove sanctions, not lobbying Congress, but the Trump administration itself, McConnell was pushing for federal funds to be used to help build something called a Brady plant near Ashland, back in his home state. So this is the Rusal Brady plant, right? Now, the federal government had already been giving money to Appalachian states to help clean up abandoned coal mining land and to assist in economic development. They've been doing that since 2016. No problem there. Coal miners do need the help. I may not agree with a lot of them politically, but I agree that they deserve safe working conditions. They deserve better economic opportunities, and that we shouldn't leave them behind because coal is dying. Now, McConnell, however, and with working with other Kentucky lawmakers, including Representative Harold Rogers, actually steered $4 million away from sewer and road repair back in October 2018 to prepare for construction on the aluminum plant. So that goes to help this foreign-backed plant that's going to end up in Kentucky. Now, according to two sources with direct knowledge talking to the Daily Beast, McConnell was instrumental in helping them secure that federal funding that had been earmarked for community development in his state. So this money went from helping the community, roads, sewers, etc., to building a foreign-owned and invested plant. And not only that, but McConnell also raided pension funds in order to help build the plant. Nothing weird about that. Now, look, there's a lot of people that look at the Russian connection and say, ha! But how what? Look, the reason I say that is that this is your sort of corruption that you see in the Republican Party all the time. In this case, it just happens to be a Russian-linked company, but this corruption existed long before Russian meddling. So this is why I have a problem with Moscow Mitch, right? So it's a funny little nickname, and of course he works for foreign interests as well as corporate interests in America. But the problem that I have with the Moscow Mitch is that it uses Soviet iconography. Mitch McConnell is not a communist. He's not a communist. He's not a socialist. What Mitch McConnell is he's a corporatist, unabashed corporatist. He works for corporations. Doesn't matter where they're from, because he gets paid. He loves the corruption. And I know it's shocking, but it turns out that Mitch McConnell will sell out to anyone with a big enough paycheck. And besides, with this plan, he's probably hoping that, hey, look, my voters, I created jobs. I created jobs. Now you can go to this plant and not have to worry about your stupid pension that I stole. Wouldn't be surprised, man. But this comes at a cost of cleaning up the communities and again, those coal miner pensions. But Mitch McConnell doesn't care about that. I mean, workers. Who cares about workers? No, I want to win elections, and I want to hurt union members. That's Republican 101. Now, after Mitch blocked that pension bill, his office said this: pension should be addressed through a broader bipartisan measure, which again will never happen in this political climate. Are you kidding me? No, it's a way to steal the pensions. Mitch McConnell stole the pensions. Now, this has coal miners absolutely furious. Dwayne Thompson, a retired Peabody Energy coal miner from Kentucky, said this: we're not ever going to quit until they give us what we've earned. We're not going to quit until we get it. I hope Senator McConnell gets that. If he supports us, we will support him. No. Here's the thing. Dude don't support you. When it comes to McConnell and his love for coal mining, he doesn't mean the miners. He means the coal mine owners. That's what Republicans always talk about when they say, oh, we love coal country. In reality, they love the coal mine owners, not the coal miners themselves. Those owners write them very, very big checks. That's all Mitch McConnell has ever supported, because Mitch McConnell is 100% corrupt. He's not a Russian. He's not a communist. No, it just happens the Russians have the most money. Mitch McConnell is a good old American corporatist who will screw anyone else over, his constituents especially, if it means he gets a bigger paycheck or some sort of political advantage, because that's who Mitch McConnell actually is.